This is Scorched Vine, a Vin Noir's production of Hope's Nocturne, written by OPL Noir and performed by Carrie Storm. Today's episode 6 Seals and Signets. Get out of my room! Now! Anna screamed, briefly pausing and adjusting the hem of her petticoat to glare at her younger sister. That was only a 4 on the Anna Richter scale, Amanda reasoned, gauging her sister's volume. She's got at least 2 more outbursts and another octave before she has a full quake, which means I have roughly 5 minutes before she goes off and really throws me out, give or take a minute. Amanda gazed around her sister's room, and not for the first time she had to remind herself that Anna was older and therefore entitled to the bigger room. Or so she'd been told, a time, or 2, or 3. Still rankles, though, she grumbled. The room was at least 3 times the size of hers and boasted a closet, 3 padded window seats, and an alcove to accommodate her full-size bed. Added to that, Anna had her own dressing table with a 3-sectioned mirror. If that wasn't enough, she had a full-length mirror and mannequin to aid in the acquisition of the perfect ensemble. Amanda rolled her eyes. I just need a few of your clips, and then I'll be out of your hair, Amanda pleaded. She thought the room lacked character. There were none of the usual trappings you would expect in a teenage girl's room. There were no posters of her favorite stars on her walls. She had no pictures of herself or friends frolicking, no pegboards with to-do lists. She had an uninterrupted sea of green. Green walls, green bed linen, green curtains, all framed by stark white molding. There must be therapy for this sort of thing, Amanda mused. An ornate frame held a picture of their parents on her nightstand. A picture of Anna and Lily was jammed into the corner of that frame. In pride of place was a picture of Jackie Kennedy and Margaret Thatcher in the center of her dresser. Emblazoned across her closet door was her motto: take power, don't ask, and look good doing it. The lettering was all green, of course. Below it, her tennis racket, rapier, and badminton racket were propped up against her dresser. The room looks like you woke up one morning and threw up spinach all over the walls, Amanda thought, grimacing as she glared down at the carpet. It wouldn't be so bad, but did you have to pick green? On everything, she balked. I feel queasy every time I walk in here. Out! Anna reiterated, pointing toward the doorway this time. That was a 4.5 on the scale, and about 2 minutes left on the San Anna fault, Amanda reasoned. Come on! I need help holding some of it down, Amanda pleaded, pointing at her mass of unruly hair. Then you shouldn't have cut it all off, Anna countered. My clips wouldn't work anyway. It's too short. It wouldn't be if I blow-dry it straight. There's no time. We need to leave for school, so you'll have to deal with it. Turning from the full-length mirror, Anna frowned down at her. Are those the same overalls from yesterday you're wearing? She scrunched up her nose. They stink. She pointed at the door. You need to change. Now. Get out. Mom! I'm going. Spinning, Amanda rushed out. No need to get a hair out of place, Stepford, she thought, on her way out the door. It wouldn't hurt you to be consistent, Amanda protested. If you're going to go from a 4.5 to a 7 in less than 2 minutes, how am I supposed to know when you're gonna blow if you're not going to be consistent? Just as she was about to grab the railing before rounding the banister, her bedroom came into view. She paused at the head of the staircase. Uniforms she'd discarded this morning lay strewn across her unmade bed. Several pairs of shoes and dirty socks littered the floor. Her room was a stark contrast to her sister's, her chaos to Anna's maddening order, and her cool, calm blue to Anna's nauseating green. There is a method to my madness. Jotting her chin in defiance, Amanda huffed. I'd hang them up if they fit. This year was supposed to be better. New school, new friends, new attitude. That's hard to do when your clothes are 2 sizes too small. From primary school pariah to secondary school punching bag. She sighed. So much for a better year. Taking the stairs 2 at a time, Amanda held on to the railing, leaping over the first landing as she scampered downstairs. Their rooms were above their parents' room, and she hoped the noise on the staircase would help her avoid an eruption. No point in setting off Mount Amelia. She stomped down another riser. I'm out of the princess's room. She mentally pushed towards her mother. She didn't mind that Anna was her mom's favorite. She had her father, and he was her favorite. It was who they were as a family. While it might not have been perfect, it was them, how they ticked. She'd grown accustomed to it. She knew where she stood and what to expect. She'd grown to accept it. Except for the green hand-me-downs. I don't think I can ever accept that. Skimming her fingers along the rich, dark wainscoting that ran opposite the spindles, Amanda crouched. She edged closer to the wall to avoid detection, as well as the new sprigs of lavender her mother had placed between the spindles sometime last night. The smell had become overpowering. In-house flora had been her mother's way of interjecting color into the space. The excessive wood made the corridors and staircase dark. This had been a point of contention between her parents, but her father seemed overly fond of mahogany. Today, they just referred to it as his craftsman period. With the second landing in sight, Amanda knew she'd avoided being dressed down by her mother. Now, the new objective, should she choose to accept it, would be to make her way downstairs as stealthily as possible. Doing so would mean not having to change her uniform, the only one that fit. Challenge accepted, she thought, hitting the second landing on her tiptoes. Her uniforms are too short and too small, Lionel bellowed. Amanda heard it all the way from the second landing. I didn't like it when you had Anna trussed up in them, but at least they fit. With her sports activities, a shorter length made sense. On Amanda, they're ridiculous. The only jousting she does is in debate club. He sighed. Look, the situation is bad enough. It certainly doesn't help to have her in clothing that is 2 sizes too small. Well, it's the economic solution you insisted we needed, Amelia countered. Correct me if I'm wrong. You claimed we needed to cut back. You emphasized the need to economize, declaring I had to be more frugal with my spending. You told me that in the next phase of our plan, we needed to tighten our belt if we were going to expand. Well, I thought this compromise saved big. She sighed. Look, I wore hand-me-downs growing up. She can too. It's good for her. Builds character. Leverage played, Anna thought, knowing her father's soft spot for her mother's disadvantages. Backpedaling on the landing, Amanda crouched lower, while shrouded in the colorful shadows of the stained glass window, leaning up against the lintel, she listened. Stumbling into an argument wasn't rare in this household. Both of her parents were passionate about their individual projects, and both were accustomed to arguing their position. However, judging from the bits she'd overheard, this argument had been about her. A rare occurrence, she frowned. Well, except for that time I told Dad about the French idiot and his banners. Dad had blown a gasket, and Mom had been frosty for a week. But at least we found out she wasn't jealous, and I got my chemistry set. Amanda knew she could expect his censure. He likely already knew she was there, crouched in a corner on the second landing. And this wouldn't be the first time he'd caught her eavesdropping. With his previous lectures about her penchant for listening in on conversations, she could predict the course his argument would take. This was unacceptable behavior within a family, he would say. This was impolite and reflects poorly on your character, he would argue. She, of course, would argue that the kitchen should be considered a communal space. Therefore, any discussion taking place within its confines could be considered open for communal hearing. Therefore, stumbling across such a discussion couldn't be considered an invasion of privacy. He would scowl, shake his head, give her a hug, and she would giggle. Objection overruled, Amanda smirked. This has been Chapter 6, Seals and Signets, from Hope's Nocturne, written by OPL Noir and performed by Carrie Storm. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode and encourage you to take the time this season to encourage a friend, a neighbor. It could be as simple as a smile during this season. And whatever your lot, we here at Scorched Vine, Vin Noirs, wish you and everyone peace and goodwill.